networking, that's my baby. So I got to throw networking in there, because I think networking, whether or not they listed or not, networking is a skill. Welcome to DebtFreeinIT. I'm your host, Mike. This podcast is for anyone who's looking to get into the IT industry, whether it's for a career change or you're just interested. I think you come to the right place. So when it comes to IT, every move is an investment. So when you first start off, you're either deciding to go to school for IT or you're looking to go the self-study route. And then after that, it's the hours that you put into studying, then the money you may spend on certifications, or the years you give to a certain company. But here's the truth. Not every investment pays off the same. So in this episode, I'm breaking down 5 ways you can maximize your ROI as an IT professional. So let's get to it. So the first way to maximize your ROI is by switching jobs. So this is basically probably the fastest way that I can think of maximizing your ROI also. So it's just being strategic with your job moves. So basically not staying in one position for a long time. So basically for me, like I said, when I started in operations, I was basically there for roughly about 3 or 4 years. So I didn't really maximize my ROI because I stayed there a little bit too long, to where originally if everything would have went according to plan, it would have been me being in ops for maybe a year, at most maybe 3 years, then moving to another position, just being strategic with where I want to land up at. So for someone starting at a help desk, this could be starting at help desk, then working your way up towards networking if that's where your end goal is at. So it could be help desk, then maybe going to a help desk 2 or maybe a desktop role, and then ended up in networking. Then at networking, you may come in as a technician, staying there a couple of years, moving your way up the ranks. So just being in your organization, because like I said, the most important step is once we get in the door. Once you get in the door, a lot of times I think it's easier to start maneuvering or start moving up to different positions, as long as you're easy to work with and as long as you got a good personality and everyone kind of, there's nothing bad going on about you. You want to have a good customer service. Make sure everyone is comfortable with working with you. So after you get in, it's easier to start moving up. But the thing is, you don't want to just jump to an opening because I'm ready to get off help desk, so I'm just going to go to anything that comes open. You don't want to just jump like that. You want to be strategic in the next move. So basically, if you're at help desk, that next move could either be, okay, let's go to desktop, or okay, let's go to networking, or let's go to server team. But you want to be strategic, because what happens is each step or each new job you get, it builds your skills, which often leads to more pay in most cases. So each one of these steps, you're building up your pay, and also you're building up your skills. So this is probably one of the fastest ways to maximize your ROI as an IT professional. So the next thing with maximizing your ROI is also falls up under the switching jobs category. But this is when, instead of switching jobs internally, meaning moving up the ladder from inside your organization, this goes to the fact of, or this falls down to switching jobs outside of your organization. So a lot of times this could be, if you're in networking as a network technician or maybe a network administrator, getting those 1 to 3 years of experience and then either moving up within your company if an opening is available. But a lot of times what you'll find that a lot of IT professionals do is after they get those years of experience, they may go outside to another company. And by going outside to another company, that serves 2 purposes. One thing is, a lot of times going outside to that other company, you usually get a bigger pay raise or you usually get a bigger pay jump. So for most companies, you don't really get a big pay jump for moving up within. But when you go to the outside to another company and they're looking for someone with your skill set, usually you probably get a 15% increase or somewhere along that range. I have heard it's more as a 20% increase. It just depends on the certain role or the certain job that you're going for. So this could be, like I said, staying at that in that network level for a couple of years and then moving on to another company to where you get a pay jump. So usually, in most cases, you always get a bigger pay jump from moving to another company, because most of the time companies will pay more to find good talent and get them inside their organization. So they usually have a bigger budget for that aspect, other than a company paying you a lot and you already at their organization. So in most of the cases, I know for most of my job roles, a lot of times, like if I'm moving up within, it wasn't really a big pay increase. But then once you move from one organization to another organization, usually you see a big pay increase. And I think that has become popular over the last couple of years, I would say at least 10 years or so. But, this is something that I saw happening a while back. And it's something that if you often look at their resumes, someone that's an IT professional and they've been in IT for years, a lot of times you'll see where it's not they don't have the traditional stay at jobs anymore, where back in the day, we were raised up, you find that one job, you stay there till you retire. But nowadays, most people, like I said, they find that job, they stay there a couple of years, get their experience, move on to another job, get a big pay raise, stay there, get a couple of years of experience, leave there, get another pay raise, go somewhere else, get a couple of years of experience. So, and like I said, doing this could also come back to bite you, because if you got someone and it's been 5 years and they done been at 5 jobs, then more than likely it's going to be hard for them to get hired somewhere, because most of the time, if we're looking at the track record, I can see that this person is only going to stay there a year. So I think one of the smartest ways to do it is probably stand there a legitimate amount of time, 1 to 3 years. Hopefully an opening comes up within that organization to move up to that position you want and get that pay increase you want, because sometimes, like I said, you could get a pretty decent jump from within, but in most cases, like I said, it's usually from the outside going to another organization. But basically stand there those 1 to 3 years, then starting to search outside if you're not able to get what you want from that organization. So the second tip to maximize your ROI as an IT professional is to target the in-demand skills. So basically this means focusing on those skills that could lead to the next job. So those high demand skills. So right now, if you're researching anything on IT or any kind of skills, a lot of times you see the same things come about. So you're definitely going to see some Linux as a high in-demand skill. You're going to see automation. You're going to see cybersecurity, and you're going to see cloud as a high in-demand skill. And also, I would also throw networking in there, because, like I said, networking, that's my baby. So I got to throw networking in there, because I think networking, whether or not they list it or not, networking is a skill that's in demand, because everything, in my eyes, builds off of the network. Once you know that network, you can pivot to any one of these high in demand skills. But basically what we're going to do is focus on these high in demand skills. Then you can see or take these in demand skills and start researching what's your best way to learn those skills. So it could be, in most cases, for most people, it's going to be pursuing a certification. So if one of these in-demand skills also leads to a role that's a higher role than what you already got, then it's a win-win for everyone. So look at the certifications that you can learn these skills and start pursuing those certifications. But like I said, as you look around, look at those in-demand skills and stay focused on those skills, and then try to pivot towards the roles within those skills. And as a bonus, if I missed any in-demand skills, or there's a skill that you can think of that I didn't mention, and off the top of my head, I can think of programming will be one of those skills also. But if there's something I missed, please put it in the comments so others could see it. Others could see it, add it to their list. It may be something that they wish to pursue. But like I said, the second tip is study those in-demand skills and look for jobs that align to those in-demand skills. Most of the time, I think it's going to end up leading to some sort of certification that you end up going after you get that certification. It proves that you have the knowledge in that domain or whatever technology that certification was on. So the third way to maximize your ROI as an IT professional is basically leveraging your employer benefits. So basically, a lot of times we never research and see what kind of benefits our employer offer us. So a lot of employers, they do offer some kind of training, whether it be a paid training or whether it be a subscription service that they already have for you. But check and see what kind of benefits your employer offers, because a lot of times, a lot of employers, especially at these major companies and even smaller companies, a lot of them, they know that, okay, this CCNA certification is valuable, and let's say that you're in networking or trying to pursue networking. So basically this CCNA certification, they know that if you get this certification, you're going to be a bonus to them, you're going to add value to them, as well as you're going to add value to yourself. So basically, a lot of companies, what they'll do is offer to reimburse you for taking certifications, where it may be a reimbursement of everything that you pay for to study for that certification and the certification test, or it could be a reimbursement where you only get reimbursed if you pass that certification. So check into, like I said, your employer benefits. And then another thing is online training. So they may already have a subscription to a Udemy or maybe some kind of Pluralsight or maybe some kind of online platform or CBT Nuggets, something where as a employee at that organization, you're able to go in, log into this platform, and look at any kind of training videos or anything you want to become knowledgeable on for free. And then another last tip that a lot of employers have, and like I said, a lot of employers I've worked at offered this, but like I said, I didn't take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? I was younger. I didn't really take advantage of it, but a lot of employers offer tuition reimbursement. So basically, this is where they pay you for going to school to get another degree or going to school to get a higher degree. So if you're someone like me, you went to a community college where you only got a 2-year degree, you know, your employer may offer something where if you go to a certified training school or maybe a online school to get your 4-year degree, where at the end of your semester or the end of your 2 years, whenever you graduate with that next degree, basically they may reimburse everything you paid or everything that you paid out to get towards that degree. So like I said, this is another added benefit that I think a lot of people look over. So basically, if you work at a major company, I'm pretty sure they got some kind of benefits. They probably got buku benefits, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of these companies have more benefits than you even know about. So it's always good to check and see what kind of benefits your employer offers. Quick pause. I'd like to introduce you to the Log Files. The Log Files is a weekly newsletter to help you start your IT career with practical advice and tips powered by yours truly. We launched it in the beginning of the year. It's packed with actionable advice, resources, and insights to kickstart your IT journey. The link is in the description as well as pinned in the comments, so don't miss out. Now back to the episode. So my next tip I have to maximize your ROI as an IT professional is building a personal brand. So basically, this has particularly become real popular within the last couple of years. As you see, social media is getting involved into all aspects. So basically building your personal brand, and this is when you're going in, you're sharing what you're learning, you know, you're posting up your projects. And a lot of times the platform I'm talking about is basically LinkedIn. That's the only platform I know that, as far as from an IT perspective, where you're able to get noticed. So by just sharing your experiences, whether it's good or bad, you know, maybe you're having a hard time learning subnetting, you know, going out on LinkedIn, sharing your experience, asking for advice. Or maybe you got subnetting down pat. You going over showing how you do, how you learned subnetting. Or maybe home labs. So you got some home equipment, you know, you're going through showing what you're learning today, what you're labbing up today. You know, basically putting your experience online. So basically practicing in public is what I like to call it, where you're practicing in public. You know, you're not perfect. No one's perfect. But basically, you're putting your experiences out there. And what this does is, especially on a platform like LinkedIn. So you got to think about it. LinkedIn is pretty much your online resume. You know, with LinkedIn, this gives insight into the type of person you are, especially on a professional level. So if I'm someone on LinkedIn, I look at your profile. It shows me what you're into. I can quickly look at your profile and see, okay, this person is into networking or this person is into cybersecurity. So with LinkedIn, by being your online resume, what that does is by you posting up your process, sharing things that you're learning, eventually LinkedIn starts to push that out to different people. Different people start to see it. More eyes get on your post. You may see it go from maybe 50 views to maybe 100 views to maybe 250 to maybe 1,000 views. But basically, with all these eyes getting on your post, what that could do is lead to a recruiter reaching out to you. So if you're steady posting up things you're learning in networking, oh, I'm studying for my CCNA. Oh, I got my CCNA. I just passed the CCNA certification. So this could lead to a recruiter who has a job available that's looking for someone with a CCNA. And a lot of times recruiters, what they'll do, they see your profile, they see that, okay, you fit whatever job role I'm trying to fill. Basically, they'll reach out to you. So they could reach out to you, let you know the job that they have available, ask you, could you jump on a quick call? So I know a lot of people who have got jobs through recruiters on LinkedIn, and also not only recruiters, a lot of times you have other hiring managers that's on LinkedIn. You know, you have hiring managers, they may see your profile or they may start seeing your post, and basically they may say, oh, I got a position that you may be perfect for. And what they'll do, they'll reach out, let you know about the position, get you on a quick call, and then you go from there. And once they get you on that quick call, you know, if you end up being the person that fits that role, you know, you done got yourself a new job, or whether or not, if you're not looking for a job, you know, you can tell them that you're not really looking right now. But LinkedIn, like I said, it's one of those tools or one of those platforms where it's real valuable. And so far, you know, it hasn't become corrupted like Facebook or any other platform where, you know, you have all type of stuff on there. You can see drama, a little bit of everything on Facebook. Right now, from the most part that I see or what my algorithm shows me, it's all good. It's all people in the IT community, people going out trying to help each other, people asking for resources, people showing you how they learned about different things, people on there labbing up things. So it gives you a lot of motivation too, because sometimes when I don't feel like studying for something, you know, I look at LinkedIn and see somebody post up something. I'm like, okay, they going to get it. I need to be going to get it. So, you know, it's a motivating tool too, because a lot of times just seeing people that's interested in the same thing you're interested in goes a long way. You know, whether or not if you communicate with them or not, just sometimes just looking at their posts and reading their posts, seeing what they went through, they're telling you their struggles. A lot of times you can relate to it. So what it does, it motivates you to go out and go after your goals, just like that person who posted is going after theirs. So like I said, building that personal brand can go a long way in maximizing your ROI as an IT professional. So the last tip to maximize your ROI as an IT professional is basically diversifying your income. So when I think of diversifying your income as an IT professional, a lot of times you want to think outside the box. Okay, if I'm a network engineer or I'm in technical support and that's my full-time job, what type of things can I do outside of my job if I'm able to do that? I can do outside of my job to bring in extra income. So this could be using your IT skills as a tutor. So you see a lot of companies out here looking for tutoring services, looking for someone to help tutor their students. Also, you could be a mentor, or you could start freelancing. You know, you got plenty of job sites out here to where basically it's almost like how Uber is, where with Uber, you know, you turn on Uber, you can go and drive and make cash. Same thing that they have for IT is basically you see different IT jobs that people need to have completed or resolved, and basically you're able to pick up those tickets or request to pick up those tickets. If you get approved for it, you go out, do the job, then get paid for it. So you can use your IT skills that you already have at your full-time job and start using it to make some side income. And then another tip could be going the instructor route. So a lot of times, like I said, a lot of schools may need instructors, especially in the community college field. You know, that we're always looking for instructors and things like that. So you could go down this route to where you're still working your full-time job, but you may adjunct as an instructor teaching what you're really doing on your full-time job. You know, if you're in networking, you could adjunct somewhere teaching networking. So you just want to think of different ways that you can utilize that skill set that you've already honed and spent hours and spent days and spent years getting together, getting on the right track, getting in the right position, learning those skills, getting those certifications. So figuring out a way that it could pay you outside of your current job. And then also I like to say if that's possible, because you know how some places they may not allow you to do that, but if it's possible, this could be another route. So to maximize your ROI, diversify your income as an IT professional. So maximizing your ROI as an IT professional really comes down to being intentional and making a plan, then following that plan. Because you want every hour that you invest, you know, you want it to come back to you either with more money or more skills or bigger opportunities. In the words of Jadakiss, time is money and you can't get an hour back. So that brings me to the end of this episode. Hopefully you found some value in this episode. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, you can follow me at DebtFreeinIT. If you have any questions, you can email me at debtfreeinit@gmail.com, or you can visit me at debtfreeinitwithmike.com. Other than that, I'll see you next week. Peace.